In today's video, we're bringing you part 4 of the We Are Yesterday arc, now in Batman-Superman World's Finest number 39. The chapter opens in the Justice League Unlimited Watchtower, where Batman is overjoyed to reunite with young Robin, Dick Grayson, who had been missing for several years. The boy doesn't understand what's happening, especially when he sees the Dark Knight smiling, something very out of character. Then Nightwing shows up, just as confused, since he was never missing. Yes, something's clearly off. Robin tries to explain, still disoriented. He says he doesn't know who this smiling Batman is, and that his last memory was being hit by a time ray from the Legion of Doom. He even wonders if he's in the future, and if the guy in black and blue is his older self. And, just to top it off, he jokes that his future self really needs a haircut. Batman, stunned, confirms that Dick had vanished years ago and never returned. But at the same time, he insists he's always known Dick as Nightwing, and that he never went missing. In other words, none of this makes sense. Robin, ever the smart aleck, quips that if time travel makes Bruce this cheerful, he would have done it ages ago. Things escalate quickly when Superman suddenly arrives, flying in and asking which version of Robin they're looking at. Young Dick is shocked, not understanding how many Robins there could even be. Placing a hand on the window, he asks someone to explain where they are. Superman answers that they're in the Justice League Unlimited Watchtower. Noticing Nightwing's reaction, Clark quickly deduces that the older version of Dick doesn't remember this moment, something Nightwing himself confirms. That means time is broken somehow, clearly unstable, which becomes even more obvious when visions from the past, present, and future suddenly appear around the heroes. Batman realizes that the temporal instability can't just be due to two Dick Graysons being in the same place. Something much bigger is happening. And it's a funny moment when Nightwing and Robin, essentially the same person, reach out to shake hands. Before they can, the heroes receive an urgent alert. The Legion of Doom is attacking, and everyone is to report to the tower's war room. Batman then orders both Graysons to avoid physical contact until they understand the situation. But it's too late. As soon as their hands touch, a burst of temporal energy explodes between them. Robin vanishes instantly. Nightwing apologizes for not reacting in time, wondering where Robin went. But Batman calmly points outside and explains that it wasn't Robin who vanished. They were transported into the past, into an earlier version of the League's satellite. Superman uses his supervision to scan the surroundings and confirms that they're several years in the past. But something's off. Their past versions are nowhere to be seen, which means those past versions were sent to the future, our present. And indeed, at the top of the Daily Planet in modern-day Metropolis, the current Lois Lane, now Superwoman, meets these past versions. Without missing a beat, Lois yells to Clark that they have to leave, mentions their son, calls young Robin Tim Drake, and even comments on the retro look of the dynamic duo. Her words leave Superman, Batman, and Robin completely stunned. Robin admits he didn't understand anything Lois said and asks, "Who's Tim?" That's when Batman has a realization. The Legion of Doom caused Dick to time jump and simultaneously made Batman and Superman forget about him. Superman, visibly shaken, murmurs that Lois knows he's Clark and that they have a son. Seeing Clark's shock, Robin snaps him out of it, reminding him that he was the only one who heard the alert that the Legion of Doom is on the loose. Refocusing, Superman pinpoints the location of Sinestro and Scarecrow and says he hears screams coming from the Superman Museum. Cut to the Superman Museum, where chaos reigns. The building is partially destroyed, civilians are fleeing, and a thick green gas cloud fills the air. Sinestro attacks from above, commenting that Metropolis isn't his usual stomping ground. Scarecrow reminds him they're there on Grodd's orders. The plan is to lure the heroes to the museum, trap them, and use the time weapons against them. Suddenly, a blast of heat vision destabilizes Sinestro's weapon. Superman appears furious, warning that the device won't work again. He then turns to face Scarecrow, stating that fear gas doesn't affect him. But as he approaches the villain, he notices something strange. Scarecrow is holding Jimmy Olsen in his arms, his neck seemingly broken. Superman grabs his friend, stunned, unable to believe what he's seeing. But in truth, Clark is holding a statue, because the fear gas was mixed with kryptonite, making it effective even against him. Meanwhile, Batman and Robin, both wearing masks, join the fight. Robin identifies the enemy as a Green Lantern wannabe, but Batman warns him not to underestimate the threat. During the fight, Sinestro mocks them, saying it's disappointing to face mere humans instead of Superman's powered allies, even joking that they're not even a match for his Kryptonian dog. After knocking Batman down, he suggests making the fight more fun. Robin fires back sarcastically, asking if Sinestro doesn't have museums on his planet, implying that all these weapons are just replicas. But Sinestro uses his ring to make the weapons more authentic. He begins attacking with an axe, forcing Batman and Robin to dodge together. Hiding behind a display case, Robin complains that the villains could have attacked the gift shop instead. Batman shuts down the jokes, reminding him they're outmatched. Robin, now serious, asks what the next move is. Meanwhile, in the past, aboard the League's satellite, Black Canary meets up with Superman and Batman and asks who the new League member is, referring to Nightwing. Superman says he'll explain later because nothing on the satellite can take them back. The three then head to the transporter. In the Batcave, Bruce is at the Batcomputer. Nightwing asks if Superman couldn't just time travel and bring them back, to which Clark replies that he can't do it accurately on his own, especially with the timeline corrupted. They needed a more reliable method. And in that tense moment, Batman reveals the worst. The Legion of Doom has stolen all the time travel devices from the League's archives, meaning there's apparently no way to return them to their time. But then, a familiar voice offers help. It's none other than Alfred. The appearance of the most famous butler in comics leaves Bruce and Dick speechless, because as most know, in the present, Alfred is dead. When the butler asks if something's wrong, Bruce and Dick exchange confused glances, while Superman whispers to be careful with the past. Of course, Nightwing ignores all the warnings and throws his arms around Alfred, deeply moved. Alfred asks who the young man is and where that suit came from. While Nightwing smiles, Batman simply says it's good to see him again. That's when Superman holds Batman back from doing anything that could further damage the timeline and, smiling, explains they're on a time travel mission, thanking Alfred for the offer to help. As Alfred walks away, Superman apologizes to Bruce, who watches the butler leave, his expression dark. Even so, he agrees that nothing about the future should be revealed, especially not about Alfred. But his determination remains strong. Return to their time and make the Legion pay. Meanwhile, in the present, still under the effects of the gas, Superman tries to convince himself it's all an illusion. Scarecrow taunts him, asking if he can't feel the fire burning through his veins. Nearby, Batman and Robin fight Sinestro, who mocks Batman for firing a simple projectile. But the projectile explodes into smoke, temporarily blinding him. Taking advantage of the moment, Batman orders Robin to help Superman, but Sinestro promises no one will make it out. Back in the past, inside the Fortress of Solitude, Superman reveals that the answer lies in the name Legion. Just like the Legion of Doom, there was the Legion of Superheroes from the 31st century. He reveals the fortress holds a time sphere, an advanced Legion technology capable of cutting through space-time. After setting the coordinates for the exact moment the tower was sealed, the heroes board it and activate the tachyon engines. In the present, Superman continues to struggle with the gas's effects. He tells himself it's not real, but Scarecrow fires another dose. The hero falls to his knees, coughing and weakened, prompting the villain to holster his weapon, convinced of his victory. But then, An image appears before Superman, a coffin surrounded by red flowers. The plaque announces his own death at the hands of Doomsday when he gave his life to save Metropolis. Furious, he rises. In a burst of speed, he charges at Scarecrow, who can do nothing against such force. In a swift move, Superman disarms him, and seconds later, the villain is handed over to the police. Meanwhile, at the museum, Sinestro has Batman and Robin trapped in an energy construct and is about to crush them. But suddenly, Superman arrives just in time and knocks Sinestro out with a single punch. When Batman asks if Clark is okay and what happened, the Man of Steel replies he is. Scarecrow overdid it and accidentally snapped Superman out of the illusion by making him hallucinate his own death. Now back to the past, inside the time sphere, with the heroes of our time trying to return to the present. But the sphere's instruments detect a temporal anomaly. Superman recognizes the trap. The Legion of Doom installed a chronal barrier, a kind of firewall in case they attempted to return. As they try to bypass the block, in the present, the heroes confront Sinestro, who grins as he recovers his time weapon. And just as Superman, Batman, and Robin leap toward him, Sinestro hits them all with the time weapon. At the same moment, the heroes in the past crash into the barrier left by the Legion of Doom. In both timelines, everything plunges into darkness. Fragments of reality begin to fall apart, as if time itself is shattering. Then, suddenly, a red and blue streak falls over the desert. Superman stands up, dazed, not knowing where he is. Moments later, Batman and Robin join him. Bruce admits he has no idea where they are either, but they all agree on one thing. Wherever this is, it doesn't look good.